So I've been feeling pretty burnt out lately and things haven't been very good. So that's why I've decided that it's time to slow down a little bit and take a break. Which is why today I'm taking you with me on a little mini vacation. We're going to go up to the North of Sjælland, to the little beach town of Tisvildeleje. And hopefully we are going to have some great time exploring the beach and the forest. So I packed some food, I packed some art supplies in case inspiration strikes, and I was on my way. The trip took about an hour and a half and required 3 different trains: the metro, the city train and the regional train. But that's all good because I love taking trains. I arrived at the small town station of Tisvildeleje around 2 in the afternoon. These days it gets dark much earlier, around 8, so I didn't have a lot of time, but there were many things I wanted to see. So I rushed down to the beach. I didn't visit the town because I was eager to get into nature, but from my short walk from the station to the beach, I could tell it's a sleepy and cute little place that's right up my alley, and I absolutely must give it some attention next time I visit. I was most eager to explore the nearby forest, but I had to give the beach a visit too. It was a chilly day, only around 19 degrees, but there were still some beachgoers around, mostly people walking their dogs. I quite liked the view from the beach to the hillside covered in cute little houses and thought it would be fun to sketch it. It was pretty intimidating and I was a bit reluctant at first, but I'm glad I gave it a go. It was actually lots of fun. I told myself I will only draw one house and see what happens. That was enough to get me over the initial hump of drawing a complex landscape like that on the go. I just kept adding details until I didn't want to anymore. I've been asked for tips on dealing with insecurities while sketching outside. A lot of drawing enthusiasts, myself included, find it intimidating to draw in public, so here's my life hack for you. Give yourself a backstory of why you are there doing what you're doing. Of course, you already have one. In my case, I was taking a day off. I wanted to draw the scenery because I was curious whether I could pull it off, and I was filming it because I wanted to make a video diary of my trip so I can better remember the day. For some reason though, my brain felt uncomfortable with that story, like I was some weirdo doing weird stuff, so I made up a story I was more comfortable with for some reason. I was a student and this was part of my assignment. Yes, even the filming. It's strange how sometimes we feel embarrassed by doing the things we actually want to do and feel the need to justify it in some way to strangers around us, even if they never asked and probably don't care. Why would it be more acceptable to sketch on the beach due to an assignment and not because I want to? I don't know. I guess part of me still feels like drawing is a silly, time-wasting occupation for silly people, and the only right reason to do it is if you were made to, if someone else deemed it worthy enough to spend time on. There's quite a bit to unpack in there, but I'll let you do it yourself because next I decided that it was time to have a snack. I treated myself to a latte and had some homemade cheesy snacks and blackberry cake in the sun while pondering my next move. I was quite impatient to see the forest, so that's where I headed next. I was greeted by the hot pine aroma right after I walked into the shades, and it always makes me feel so at home. There is something quite special about places where the forest comes all the way to the beach. It's like bonus nature, 2 for the price of 1. Yes, please. I had barely started my walk when I met a forest friend chilling right in the middle of the path, and it did make me squeak. I thought it was a small snake, but was later informed that it was in fact a Stålorm or Stålorm, a kind of a legless lizard. For quite a while after our encounter, I couldn't take my eyes off the ground and every branch looked like a snake. I wasn't too worried about meeting one because I know they're completely harmless, but I was scared of possibly stepping on one. The one I met was extremely unbothered by my presence and didn't move away at all, so it was a bit of a stressful walk at first. Later on, I saw a deer, but it definitely had no desire to stay and hang with me, so I didn't manage to capture it for you. At some point, some grey clouds showed up above, and I started regretting my decision not to bring a raincoat, only based on the weather forecast, but it was all good. They quickly moved on. I kept walking without much of a plan, just enjoying all the little finds near the trail and some more casual sketching. And just like that, without even trying, I happened upon an area of the forest that I've seen in pictures before and very much hope to see in real life. Troldeskoven, or the troll forest. It is a part of the forest where the trees grow in strange, twisted shapes and they look like you've walked right into a fairy tale. It is an old forest dating back to the later half of the 18th century, and it is believed that the strange shape of the trees is a combination of the impact of the wind and an infestation of pine pests. Walking around those trees was definitely a magical experience, but the sun had started to set and I didn't want to be caught by darkness in the forest, so I started heading towards the beach again. I had walked parallel to it the entire time, so it was quite easy to navigate back. No time to sketch more, unfortunately, but hey, there's always a next time. It started getting harder and harder to walk in the sand, so I finally gave up and went barefoot. I'm not the biggest fan of walking barefoot. I find it pretty painful and uncomfortable a lot of the time, and it certainly was in the more rocky parts of the beach, but it gets better over time. The sand was already cold at this point, but the water actually had a very pleasant temperature, so I walked back alongside the beach. Walking at the strip where the water and the sand meet is my favorite beach activity as a non-swimmer and was the best conclusion to my little day trip. The colors of the sunset were perfect, the new moon was rising behind me and the sound of the waves was so relaxing. I was also quite lucky to find a good public bathroom at any point of this trip when I needed one. I love me some nature with a side of modern plumbing. It was dark by the time I made it back to town and just in time for the train. This trip was the perfect little getaway and I absolutely need to come back, and I can't wait for the next time. For now, thanks for joining me. See you soon.